Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Robson Leite. I'm a PhD in marine biology under the guidance of Drs. Mara Kiefer and Daniel Lima from Universidade Federal Fluminense. And today I'm here to present part of my doctoral thesis entitled Density, Structure and Dynamics of Ocedes caudatus in Mangrove Stands of a Coastal Lagoon in southeastern Brazil. Occipodid crabs dominate the mangrove fauna. Ocedes caudatus, aka Usa crab, is a large semi-terrestrial crab endemic of mangrove forests. It has cryptic behavior when excavating dwelling galleries in the substrate, where it feeds on plant material. Since it's highly effective in consuming and processing leaf litter, it develops a major ecological function in estuarine habitats. Population parameters in crabs can vary in function of their activity, spatial distribution, and habitats. In impacted ecosystems such as mangroves, ecological restoration has been recently used to mitigate habitat loss. However, there is a paucity of knowledge when comparing ecological processes of mangroves of different ages and ways of establishment. Ocedes caudatus is a relevant fishery resource of Brazilian mangroves, where it is highly commercially exploited. Along with its habitat loss, its population stocks have been compromised in many regions. The main objective of this study was to evaluate and compare some population parameters, density and structure, and spatial-temporal dynamics of Ocedes caudatus between mangrove stands of different ages and ways of establishment. At the coast of Niterói, southeastern Brazil, a naturally colonized mangrove stand emerges in the lagoon after the opening of an estuarine channel in 1977. In 2003, Rhizophragmangli plantations were carried out in a bare soil at the opposite margin. Consequently, there is a mosaic of structural development emerging in the lagoon. Considering this and the ecological importance of Usa crab, there are few studies about its population in this area. The Itaipu Lagoon is part of a permanent conservation unit. Sampling took place monthly over a year at 2 natural and 1 planted stands. There was previous information of illegal capture of crabs at the second natural stand. The physiographic spatial gradient was contemplated by subdividing the stands into 2 zones, margin and interior, in order to consider environmental heterogeneity. Density was indirectly estimated by counting the active and closed galleries, potentially occupied, due to biogenic activity. Population structure was estimated by measuring galleries diameter and converting to animal size, carapace width, using a linear regression. Density and structure were compared between stands using ANOVA. Density was significantly different between stands and seasons, and in the interaction between them. Density was highest at the planted and lowest at the natural 2 stand. The latter one had the highest proportion of inactive galleries. Between seasons, highest densities occurred in winter and spring, while lowest in autumn. Gallery size was significantly different between stands and in the interaction with physiographic zones. Gallery size was highest at the planted stand and lowest at the inner zone of natural 2 stand. Estimated size of crabs are described. Density of Ocedes caudatus are among the lowest in Brazil, and may be related to latitude and habitat intrinsic factors. Furthermore, the high levels of eutrophication in the lagoon could impact density. Highest density and size at the planted stand are probably associated to habitat differences like tidal influence, which affects foraging. Lowest density in autumn could be linked to life cycle stage of growth, when crabs close their burrows. Lowest density and size at the natural 2 stand corroborated the population capture records at this site, resulting in a size below the limit established by government capture legislation. In addition, this site has inhibition of plant growth in its lower edge. Density and structure of crabs are related to phytosociological structure features, like structural components. Rhizophragmangli and Laguncularia racemosa roots favor different densities and sizes. Ocedes caudatus preferentially digs galleries close to the complex Rhizophragmangli rhizophores. The planted stand is dominated by both species. In conclusion, distinct selective pressures between stands related to physiographic heterogeneity are responsible for most of the ecological differences in Ocedes caudatus population. Considering the organic contamination at the lagoon and illegal capture of crabs in the domains of a protected site, Continuous monitoring is needed to improve population management. That's all. Thank you for watching.